I first noticed it because of the silence, not the dolls, the silence. There were hundreds of them hanging from the trees. Some had cracked porcelain faces. Others were missing arms. Some were nothing more than faded plastic heads tied to branches with old wire. Every one of them should have been moving in the wind. None of them were. Then our boat driver suddenly stopped rowing. He stared toward the island. Look carefully. I looked where he was pointing. Every doll was facing the canal, except one. One doll near the center of the island was turned toward the forest. The boat driver immediately lowered his eyes. Someone changed it. He refused to explain what he meant. 5 minutes later, he dropped us off and left without another word. This is Tales of the Dark. A viewer recently sent me this experience and asked to remain anonymous. I've changed a few names to protect their privacy, but everything else has been told exactly as they remembered it. There were 4 of us: me, Ryan, Emily, and Noah. We weren't ghost hunters. We weren't trying to prove anything supernatural. We filmed abandoned places for a small travel channel. Forgotten hotels, old factories, places with unusual histories. Our viewers had been asking us for months to visit the island of the dolls. After weeks of emailing local guides, one finally agreed to take us there after visiting ours. He made one condition: if you're still on the island after sunrise, don't expect me to come back. We laughed. He didn't. The boat ride took almost 40 minutes. The canals became narrower, the trees thicker, civilization slowly disappeared behind us. Then the first doll appeared. It hung from a low branch just above the water. Its face had almost completely faded away. Another appeared, then another, within minutes. They were everywhere, hundreds of them, maybe thousands, hanging from every tree, every fence, every broken post. Some looked almost new. Others had been exposed to the weather for decades, no matter how damaged they were. They all faced the canal. Ryan noticed it too. That's weird. Emily looked around, almost like they're watching people arrive. The guide quietly answered, "They're not watching people, they're waiting." Nobody asked what he meant. We reached the small wooden dock before we got off the boat. The guide handed me a small brass bell. "If anything feels wrong, ring this once." Ryan laughed. "What does it do?" The guide looked directly at him. "I'll know." He pushed the boat away. Within seconds, he disappeared into the narrow canal, leaving us completely alone. The island was much smaller than I expected. There was one old cabin, several narrow dirt paths, and dolls everywhere. They hung from branches above our heads. Some were nailed to fences, others sat on tree stumps. One old teddy bear hung beside a doll missing both eyes. Emily quietly started filming. "This place feels..." She couldn't finish the sentence. Noah picked up a handheld camera. "I'm getting close-up shots." Ryan unfolded an old map given to us by the guide. Cabin, storage shed, garden, dock, that's basically everything. We spent the next hour filming. Nothing unusual happened. It almost felt disappointing. Ryan smiled. "I think the internet exaggerated this place." Then Noah called us. "You guys should see this." He stood beside one of the largest trees. Dozens of dolls hung from its branches. All except one faced the canal. One doll, the newest looking doll, faced the forest. Ryan shrugged. So Noah pointed toward the ground, fresh footprints leading away from the doll into the trees. Emily frowned. "They're recent." The dirt was still damp. Whoever left them hadn't been gone long. Ryan looked toward the forest. "We're not alone." We followed the footprints. They stopped after about 50 yards, not faded, stopped, as if the person had vanished. There was nowhere else to go. Dense trees surrounded us. Emily slowly turned in a circle. "I don't like this." Neither did I then. We heard a camera shutter click, not ours, a different one somewhere behind us. Ryan spun around. "Who's there?" No answer. We searched the trees. Nothing, no movement, no voices. Just hundreds of dolls hanging silently above us. We decided to head back toward the cabin. As we walked, Emily suddenly stopped. "The dolls, what about them? They're looking at us." I looked around. She was right. The dolls along the path no longer faced the canal. They faced the trail, toward us. Ryan laughed nervously. "You've just never noticed." Maybe that's what I wanted to believe. We reached the cabin just before sunset. Inside, everything was covered in dust. An old wooden table, 4 chairs, a rusted lantern, shelves filled with glass jars, one narrow bed, no electricity, no running water. Just before dark, we unpacked our equipment. Ryan checked every camera battery. Emily prepared food. Noah copied footage onto 2 memory cards. Routine, comforting, normal, until Noah frowned. That's strange. He replayed footage from the large tree, the one with the single doll facing the forest. The doll wasn't facing the forest anymore. It now faced the canal. Ryan smiled. So someone moved it. Noah shook his head. I don't have footage of anyone touching it. We watched the recording. The camera never left the doll, not for a second. One frame, it faced the forest. The next frame, it faced the canal. No movement, no transition, just different. Nobody spoke. Emily finally whispered, "Play it again." Same result. Frame by frame, the doll simply changed direction. Ryan grabbed his flashlight. We are checking. Outside, darkness had almost completely fallen. We reached the tree. The doll faced the canal exactly like every other doll. Ryan searched the ground. No fresh footprints. Nothing disturbed the dirt. Emily slowly looked around. Where's the other one? What other one? The small doll, the one hanging below it. We checked the footage. She was right. Earlier that afternoon, a smaller doll had been hanging beneath the larger one. Now, the string was still there, but the doll was gone. No broken wire, no pieces on the ground. It had simply disappeared. Noah quietly said, "I think we should leave." Ryan looked toward the canal. The boat wasn't there. Of course it wasn't. The guide had already warned us. He wouldn't return until morning. If he returns at all, Emily muttered. We hurried back toward the dock anyway. Maybe another boat had passed. Maybe someone had arrived late. The dock was empty. The canal was completely still. Not a single boat, not even the sound of one. Then, a bell rang somewhere deep inside the island. One clear chime. None of us moved. Ryan looked at me. Was that? I slowly reached into my backpack. The small brass bell the guide had given me was gone. I emptied my backpack onto the dock. Camera batteries, a flashlight, a bottle of water, the folded map. The brass bell was gone. I know I packed it. Ryan looked around. Maybe it fell out. We searched the dock. Nothing. Then the bell rang again, one slow chime. This time it came from somewhere deeper inside the island. Emily looked at me. That's your bell. It has to be. Noah shook his head. Or someone else has it. None of us liked that answer. We followed the sound. The narrow trail twisted between old trees. Every branch seemed to carry another doll. They were all facing the canal again, except one, the small doll that had disappeared. It was hanging from a different tree, much closer to the cabin. None of us had seen it there before. Ryan walked toward it. Tied around its neck was a small wooden tag. He turned it over. There was only one word. Welcome. Noah laughed nervously. That's not funny. Nobody answered. The bell rang again, closer. We followed it until the trees opened into a small clearing. In the center stood an old wooden shed. It hadn't been marked on the guide's map. The door hung slightly open. Inside was a workbench, old ropes, rusted tools, and hundreds of tiny brass hooks. Every hook held a handwritten tag. Each tag had a date, nothing else. Emily picked one up. May 14. Ryan found another. September 2. Then I noticed a dusty ledger lying on the bench. The first page listed names. Beside each name was a date. The final column simply read, returned. Most names had a check mark, some didn't. Noah flipped to the last page. The final entry had been written only 3 days earlier. No name, just 4 words, waiting for 4. The room went completely silent. We looked at each other. There were 4 of us. A camera beeped. Ryan checked his battery. Dead. Mine had been fully charged an hour earlier. It was dead too. Emily's flashlight dimmed, then went out. Only Noah's light remained. Something creaked outside, not a branch. Footsteps, slow, steady, walking around the shed. Ryan whispered, "Don't open the door." The footsteps stopped, then someone knocked. 3 slow knocks, nobody moved. After several seconds, a quiet voice came through the wood. "You missed one." It sounded like an old man. Ryan swallowed. "What do you mean?" "The doll. It isn't facing the river." The footsteps continued, then faded into the darkness. We waited another minute before opening the door. No one was there, only rows of dolls hanging from the trees. Ryan looked toward the clearing. The guide. We all turned. The boat guide was standing near the canal. He hadn't made a sound. He simply raised one hand and pointed toward the trees behind us. "Don't look." Of course, we all looked. Every doll in the clearing was facing us. Hundreds of glass eyes, perfectly still, no movement, no sound, just watching. Emily grabbed my arm. "We're leaving." We ran toward the dock. The guide was already pulling the boat closer. We climbed in without saying a word. As soon as the boat pushed away, I looked back. Every doll had turned toward the river again, exactly as we'd first seen them. Noah finally spoke. "Did we imagine all of that?" The guide kept rowing. "No." "Then what happened?" He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he reached beneath his seat and placed an old photograph on the bench between us. It showed 4 tourists standing on the dock, behind them. The same trees, the same cabin, the same dolls. The photograph was dated 1998. Ryan frowned. "There are only 3 people." The guide nodded. "There were 4. What happened to the last one?" The guide looked toward the island. "No one remembers." Emily leaned closer. "But you said there were 4. "I did. So why are there only 3 in the picture?" The guide folded the photograph. "Because that's how it always starts." None of us understood what he meant. We reached the mainland just before sunrise. The guide refused to take any payment. Before leaving, he said one final sentence: "If you ever receive a doll, don't keep it." Months passed. Life slowly returned to normal. We uploaded the documentary. It became our most viewed video. Thousands of comments. Most people thought it was staged. A few claimed they'd visited the island and experienced strange things themselves. Then Noah called me. He sounded terrified. His voice was shaking. "I found something." "What?" "I was organizing my footage." "You remember the old photograph?" "Yeah." "I enhanced it." I waited. "There aren't 3 people. There are 4. My stomach tightened. "What are you talking about?" "The 4th person isn't standing with them. He's hanging in one of the trees." Noah sent me the image. I zoomed in at first. It looked like another doll, small, motionless. Then I noticed the jacket. The same dark green jacket Ryan had worn on the island. I called Ryan immediately. No answer. Emily didn't answer either. I drove to Ryan's apartment. His car was still there. His mailbox was full. The manager opened the apartment for me. Everything inside was untouched. Wallet, keys, laptop, phone, charger. His bed had never been slept in. It was as if he'd walked out for 5 minutes and never came back. The police listed him as a missing person. They never found a trace. 2 weeks later, Emily disappeared too. No signs of forced entry, no witnesses, nothing. The only person left was me. I deleted every copy of the documentary, every backup, every photograph. I wanted that place erased from my life. Last week, a subscriber emailed me. He'd recently visited the island of the dolls. He attached a single photo. He thought it was funny. He said one doll looked strangely realistic. I almost deleted the email. Then I opened the image, hanging from a tree near the dock. Was a doll wearing Ryan's green jacket. Beside it, another doll, wearing Emily's red hoodie. The subscriber had no idea who they were. To him, they were just 2 more dolls on the island. I closed the email. I never replied. And I'll never go back to find out whether those dolls were always there, or whether the island is still waiting for one more visitor. That was the end of this story. If you've ever experienced something you still can't explain, or have a strange story of your own, send it to Tales of the Dark. Your story could become the next nightmare featured on this channel. If you are new here, subscribe to Tales of the Dark, where every story gives you a nightmare.